I got it. I got it.
Okay, yeah, got it. Okay. Yeah, Vincent, thank you. Right, so everybody accepted the recording. So now we have an infrastructure, we have something that goes on top of that infrastructure that allows us to navigate literally or virtually, but it's very disorganized. So that's where we get to Google. Google wasn't the first search engine. If you guys remember, we had Yahoo was probably the first one, but we have Alta Vista, we had other search engines. But Google came with a very good idea, different idea, and that's why they grew so much. And we're going to see now why this Mr. Lasagna is important for us, okay?
Every day, billions of people come here with questions about all kinds of things. Sometimes we even get questions about Google search itself, like how this whole thing actually works. And while this is a subject entire books have been written about, there's a good chance you're in the market for something a little more concise. So let's say it's getting close to dinner and you want a recipe for lasagna. You've probably seen this before, but let's go a little deeper. Since the beginning, back when the homepage looked like this, Google has been continuously mapping the web, hundreds of billions of pages, to create something called an index. Think of it as the giant library we look through whenever you do a search for lasagna or anything else. Now, the word lasagna shows up a lot on the web. Pages about the history of lasagna, articles by scientists whose last name happened to be lasagna, stuff other people might be looking for. But if you're hungry, randomly clicking through millions of links is no fun. This is where Google's ranking algorithms come into play. First, they try to understand what you're looking for, so they can be helpful even if you don't know exactly the right words to use or if your spelling is a little off. Then they sift through millions of possible matches in the index and automatically assemble a page that tries to put the most relevant information up top for you to choose from. Okay, now we have some results. But how did the algorithms actually decide what made it onto the first page? There are hundreds of factors that go into ranking search results, so let's talk about a few of them. You may already know that pages containing the words you search for are more likely to end up at the top. No surprise there. But the location of those words, like in the page's title or in an image's caption, those are factors too. There's a lot more to ranking than just words. Back when Google got started, we looked at how pages linked to each other to better understand what pages were about and how important and trustworthy they seemed. Today, linking is still an important factor. Another factor is location, where a search happens. Because if you happen to be in Ormea, Italy, you might be looking for information about their annual lasagna festival. But if you're in Omaha, Nebraska, you probably aren't. When a web page is uploaded is an important factor too. Pages published more recently often have more accurate information, especially in the case of a rapidly developing news story. Of course, not every site in the web is trying to be helpful. Just like with robocalls on your phone or spam in your email, there are a lot of sites that only exist to scam, and every day scammers upload millions more of them. So just because instantvirusdownload.net lists the words lasagna recipe 400 times, that doesn't mean it's going to help you make dinner. We spend a lot of time trying to stay one step ahead of tricks like these, making sure our algorithms can recognize scam sites and flag them before they make it to your search results page. So let's review. Billions of times a day, whenever someone searches for lasagna, or resume writing tips, or how to swaddle a baby, or anything else, Google software locates all the potentially relevant results on the web, removes all the spam, and ranks them based on hundreds of factors like keywords, links, location, and freshness. Okay, good time to take a breath. This last part is about how we make changes to search, and it's important. Since 1998, when Google went online, people seem to have found our results pretty helpful. But the web is always changing, and people are always searching for new things. In fact, 1 in every 7 searches is for something that's never been typed into the search box before, by anyone, ever. So we're always working on updates to search, thousands every year. Which brings up a big question. How do we decide whether a change is making search more helpful? Well, one of the ways we evaluate potential updates to search is by asking people like you. Every day, thousands of search quality raters look at samples of search results side by side, then give feedback about the relevance and reliability of the information. To make sure those evaluations are consistent, the raters follow a list of search quality evaluator guidelines. Think of them as our publicly available guide to what makes a good result good. Oh, and one last thing to remember. We use responses from raters to evaluate changes, but they don't directly impact how search results are ranked. So there you have it. Every time you click search, our algorithms are analyzing the meaning of the words in your search, matching them to the content on the web, understanding what content is most likely to be helpful and reliable, and then automatically putting it all together in a neatly organized page designed to get you the info you need. All in, 0.81 seconds? Wow. Anyone else ready for dinner?
Okay, so the Google robots are the software, or the guys that follow every link and every possibility. So they start from one link somewhere, and then they follow that link to where it goes, and then from there it follows the other link. So those pieces of software, they are running the web all the time and looking for links between stuff. Okay, so those are the robots. And now, oops, I don't know why it's playing twice. A few things for you guys to keep in mind that she mentioned on the video, and we'll talk about later. It's importance. Okay, so how do they define importance for an item or something that's been searched? Reference. Preferences is very important. Relevance, how they decide about relevance, and constant updates. Okay, these 4 things will be important for us later. And now, social media. Okay, so we have an infrastructure, we have a protocol that allows us to create interactive applications. And how did we get here? What we do with them? So let's see a little bit of history. Probably you guys will have some nostalgia here. CompuServe, American Online, the guy mentioned the Video Prodigy. These services, they mostly worked with email. Some of them had chat or BBSs, bulletin board systems, and sometimes had even real-time chatting. 6 Degrees in 97, we started with uploading profiles. So you could upload a profile and they would do some matching with it. In 99, we started with the weblogs or blogs, as we know today, in services like Blogger and LiveJournal. 2001, Friendster. To be honest, I didn't even remember about Friendster, and it was gone very, very quickly. They had basically email, and so it wasn't. It was a starter, but it wasn't much relevant. LinkedIn, 20 years, you still use it, and it's very important. In 2003, I don't know if you guys remember MySpace. It was kind of a precursor to Facebook. Second Life, it became a hype at some time with avatars and everything, and probably we'll see something about metaverse later, but Second Life was already a meta thing. Orkut, I don't know how much here in Canada, in Brazil, and South America, in parts of Europe, it was very big. And in 2014, Google canceled the service. Twitter is still here. We'll talk a little more about it. Facebook as well. We'll talk more about it. And Google Plus, that died. I don't think anyone misses it. And it was an attempt to try and compete with Facebook that didn't work. So I got some information from Adobe. They had a research, and they ranked Instagram the first of 7 social media services we'll see here. I'll just give a little bit of information. The public for Instagram is teen and young adults, influencers, brands. They're very strong on Instagram. Bloggers, small businesses, friends, and everyone in between. They have around 1 billion users per month. The content, photography, unique designs, people try to stand out. Selfie style video directed to the audience. And the focus here, if you want to use Instagram, you will use Instagram if you're trying to reach an audience below the age of 40. Or if you run a lifestyle kind of business, an e-commerce or photography business. And we have here some examples. I don't know how many of you use Instagram, but this is mostly mobile examples of Instagram. We also have YouTube. YouTube is not exactly social media, but it is the second most popular search engine. So behind Google. So people search a lot on YouTube, and YouTube ended up being a distributor of content. If you want to find something, you probably find in YouTube, on YouTube. And people at the comment area for every video can become very, can say, aggressive sometimes. So that's why Adobe put YouTube here. So the public is 70 in the US, 73% are adults, men and women, and between 15 to 34 years old. This is the most public. Over 2 billion users per month. The content videos, of course, can be long or short, and it depends what you want to do. So if you want to focus on an audience that's below the age of 50 and it's interested in education or entertainment, you probably have to use YouTube. And here's an example. I pretty much know, I guess that everybody had been to the YouTube to see some videos or something. You can find anything there. We have Facebook. So in the US, 68% of adults report using it, 51 being active multiple times a day. And users, as they grow older, they start to use more. So Facebook is for older guys like me, at least. Users 2.5 billion per month is the largest. So it has the largest number of users. You have the content is groups. We have a group there, right? Actually, ASC has a page, but people can interact through there. Online communities, industry content, even news and companies and things like that. Short form videos, usually don't have long videos there. Graphics, pictures, and other visual content. And you'll use Facebook if you want to reach an audience around 30 and more. Okay, and if you want to invoke emotional responses, that's why you have lots of campaigns on Facebook, for example. If you want to create an online community, you can use it as well. And I hope everybody had used Facebook sometimes. It's just an example of the web, how it is. Twitter, the public, 63% between 35 and 65, so it's kind of spread. 2/3 male, so this one, we have a concentration of male users, and 40% are active. And when they say active here, is hugely active, like Trump or Elon Musk. They pretty much live on Twitter the whole day. Twitter doesn't have that many users. It's 200 million per month, but they are very influential. So that's why Twitter is here in a very high position. So the content, breaking news, right? Some gossip. They have to be short, so they have to be digest bite-sized content. As per the platform, you can't have that many characters. Direct communication, so in this way, those influencers can have a direct communication with their followers, images and or videos. And the focus, if you want to reach a mature audience of males between 30 and 60, that's where you should go. And then here is an example of Twitter. It's a little bit different from Instagram because you have just short texts, right? And people sometimes just text, so you don't have that many images and videos. Next one, TikTok, let's say one of the new guys that came. Around 50% of the audience is under the age of 35 in the United States, the majority between 16 and 24. It has 800 million monthly users, is a lot for a platform that's, what, 2 years old, I think, as far as I remember. The content is entertaining mostly. Now we have some educational groups coming and educational services coming, but it's mostly entertaining for now, jokes and things like that. Comedic, sometimes nonsensical. And your focus is young audience, go to TikTok. Okay, so here's an example of TikTok, right? It's videos all the time and people making fun things. Pinterest, I don't know how many of you heard of Pinterest, but it's interesting because 80% of adult women it's public. So it's a huge concentration of women. You have 320 million users, monthly users, so it's larger than Twitter. The content is vertically, it doesn't have to be vertically, but usually it's in a vertical format. Images to improve browsing experience. You can have numbers, graphics, and things like that, and lists and quotes. And if you want to reach adult women, this would be your site to go. This is an example of a Pinterest page. Actually, sometimes when we search for images, we get lots of results from Pinterest because it's rich in content. Snapchat. So it's kind of going down now, but it's still very active. Public is young adults between 18 and 24. It's most of their users, 78%. And it's kind of a little bit more of women than men, but not very significantly. 300 million monthly users, so it's almost the size of Twitter. It's video-driven storytelling now, so it has lots of competitors. Even Instagram and TikTok, they are competing a lot. And the focus, if you want to reach young audience, Snapchat is the way to go. A few examples here. Actually, this is from Snapchat's page directed to businesses. They are trying to attract more businesses to the platform. Okay, so hashtags. I'm pretty sure everybody heard of hashtag, and that's a very nice definition here. A hashtag is a metadata tag that's prefaced by the hash sign. User, come on, this is a hashtag, okay? So for example, this is an example of Canadian Blood Services, and these are hashtags, okay? Everybody that starts with the hash is a hashtag. And what is it used for? For example, Canadian Blood Services uses the hashtag Partners for Life. And what does it really mean? It means that this is a category. So let's see what Partners for Life means. Okay, so it's loading real time. Oh, come on. Yeah. So you see, there are 25,000 people posting about Partners for Life. And you see, there's no, oh, come on. There is no Canada Blood Services here, right? Because these posts, they are connected via the hashtag. So we can understand that Canada Blood Services is very influential. In a way, if you use this hashtag, you can get part of that audience connected to your posts if you use it. And during that meeting, I think it was Rob who mentioned, oh, but so can I fake? Can I put a hashtag or can I use words to try and attract people? I think you guys probably remember from the Google video that Google tracks that if you're trying to hack their system. So this happens and they try to track that and clean the system. So usually you have good examples of the usage of the hashtag. But this is why hashtags are important. It connects your content. Here's a Canadian Blood Services post to content that other people, other services are posting about the same subject. Okay. Any questions, guys? No, everybody's okay. So, oops, wrong page. Where is my presentation? I lost my presentation. That's very interesting. Here, yeah. Okay, so moving on. Okay, now another poll. Let's see what social media you guys use. Okay, so you guys have 10 seconds from now to mark. You can select more than one, okay? So just mark the social media you use.
Mention that you can go down further.
Oh, yeah, you can scroll, yeah. You go until letter J, okay? The window that Zoom shows us is small. Oh, this is fun, Lois, having results real time here.
I see from A to J. Is there more?
A to J. No, it's A to J. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the last one is Slack.
Okay.
You can select more than one, okay?
Possibly I should have clicked Facebook, but I had some problems with that, and I'm not anymore.
Okay, we count another one for Facebook.
Yeah.
Okay.
I might have some questions about the problem I had with that, but
okay.
but maybe I should get that at the end of the.
No,
Yeah,
let's finish.
Wait till the end for that one.
Oh, okay. Let's end the poll here. So let's see. Let's show the results. And as you can see, YouTube is the top one. Everybody uses YouTube. Yeah, that's why it was the second one there. Even though I don't know how many of you have posted comments or anything on YouTube, but sometimes you get really heated discussions there on every YouTube video, especially if it's political or something like that. And Jim, what was the question?
Oh, okay. I signed on to Facebook quite a few years ago, and then I wasn't using it very much. And then I got this message from this email from Facebook saying, "Hi, Maureen. Apparently somebody who was using the name Maureen hacked my Facebook account." And
Yeah, we'll talk about security later then.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah, we have we'll have some opportunities later to talk about security and hacking and things like that. I hope that we can reach this problem, but even our Facebook was hacked the other day. So yeah, it's a big problem. Okay, so we saw the 7 main ones according to Adobe, but there are several other services there, and actually they're not so different, and it's complicated. So we have Tumblr. Tumblr is also focused on videos and pictures. You can have your groups. So for me, it's very similar to Instagram or even Pinterest. Okay, but it's interesting. It has interesting content. You'll have Twitch. Twitch is a little bit different because it's focused on gameplays. So if you're a gamer, video games in this case, board games don't count here. So if you're a gamer or even a musician, you can record your game and then you post there, and people discuss it, they talk about it, and well, people who like sports and watch sports, people like watching other people playing video games. So that's probably a thing. Reddit, it's that has lots of content. I don't know how many of you had done some search and got some results from Reddit. Usually you have groups with very knowledgeable people, but about any subject. So even conspiracy theories and things like that. So you have to be careful. But you can find a lot of content there. And then some Redditors are very influential, are very, people pay a lot of attention to what they're saying. And I'm a Reddit user. If you like some subjects like, I don't know, DIY or video games, things like that, you should follow Reddit because it's very interesting. Discord, similar to Reddit, it has subjects. So for example, I follow The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe and Friendly Atheists. So you can connect to people that are from those communities, are patrons from those communities, and you can talk to them. You have channels for each of the services. So these channels will depend on the service. So you see here how to be a Discord partner, and you have general questions, safety questions. So you can post your question here and people will answer. And that happens for several other services. Slack. Slack is a little bit like Discord, but it's focused on business relations. And why am I doing this? Because it doesn't have to be a company. It can be, we could have a Slack channel, okay? And you can share content. You can talk to people. You have chat to talk real time with people. You can have apps, and that's very interesting from Slack. For example, you can have Google Calendar here. You can have other apps integrated to Slack. So your employees or your partners can go to a single place to have everything the company uses. You see here, we have Adobe Creative Cloud, Concur Expense Better. So you have several different services they can have on a single place. Quai. If you think this is like TikTok, yes, it's a precursor to Quai. Kuaishou, I don't know how to say this in Chinese. It's the Chinese name. But it's a little bit older than TikTok. It's still being used, but the proposition is pretty much the same. Okay, you have funny videos, and you try to attract people to your page. Clubhouse. For people who are a little older, you might remember the crossed lines we have when you picked up the phone and there was someone using from somewhere else, and you had a crossed line there. So Clubhouse is pretty much this. You can interact with other people about the same subject. So usually you have someone expert. I'm doing this because they might be experts or not, I don't know, about a subject. And then you register to that same channel. And when you open your app and you go to that channel, you're listening to them real time. So it's like a real-time podcast. Even some people use Clubhouse to record their podcasts. Okay, and some channels allow you to interact and ask questions or discuss between people. So it's a cross line, just audio pretty much, to understand some content. This one, thanks to Lois, because I have never heard of it before. She mentioned it to me. Mastodon. Okay, so this is an open source social media. What does it mean? Their idea is social media, they are gaining audience based on the content created by other people, right? So for example, ASC has a page on Facebook. If Facebook goes away, ASC will not only lose its page, but it will lose its audience. So the idea of Mastodon is you keep your audience. It's independent from the platform. Okay, the audience is yours. You can take your audience somewhere else. So they have some modules. You want to create something Twitter-like. So you add a messaging board, you add some other thing, a login, and you create your own social media. One instance can interchange users with the other. So let's see how it's going to work. I'm on some of their instances. It's interesting. It's a Discord-like thing, but I don't know where it's going to go. The proposition is interesting, but I don't know if it's going to survive because they don't have big supporters like Facebook and Twitter, for example. Okay, so another poll. Let's see how you guys doing so far, because the easy stuff is done. So now we're gonna start talking about the hard stuff. Let's see how you guys are doing so far.
Wow.
Okay, Stephen, I saw
Just
that
to
you
say,
raised your
Stephen.
hand. Yeah. Okay, so while people are voting, Stephen, what do you want to ask?
Okay. Did we talk about LinkedIn?
Actually, I skipped LinkedIn kind of on purpose. I just mentioned it has 20 years.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But because we are focusing, ASC is not focusing on LinkedIn for now. So we are not planning on having a LinkedIn page. So we focused on social media that we would be interested in going. Okay, so that's
Okay.
why I just mentioned it in the history, saying that's 20 years old and it's still there. Because,
Okay.
yeah, remember that the context here was how ASC, how Atheist Society of Calgary, could be using social media better. And we saw that LinkedIn wouldn't be a page for us or a place for us to be, because it wouldn't make sense, right?
Okay. Because I brought up because I use LinkedIn a lot, especially in the professional world.
Yes.
Yeah, and just curious, how many users are there at LinkedIn right now? Do you know?
Well, I don't know, but we can always search, because that's what internet's for. And let's see if I can find here LinkedIn users. And yeah, it's here. So 830 million members
Okay, so that's
in
quite a
200
number.
countries. Yeah, but I have to say that I didn't see here. Of course, we have to check. But lots of them would be not active. For example, I'm only active when I'm looking for a job. I used it daily, but I'm not so active. I don't know about other people. But usually people are active when they're looking for a job or they're looking for someone to hire, right? So that's the moments where they're most active. Or people that post a lot, and companies that post a lot. Right? But so I would say that this is not monthly users like the statistics I gave before. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of users.
It's a lot there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's been there for 20 years. So
Yeah, it's been there. Because I've been there for a long time. I got a lot of connection there at LinkedIn.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Don.
Yeah, question. So we noticed there's a huge numbers of people, millions and millions of people using different types of social media. But how so if, for instance, if someone's deceased, how is that managed? Do those accounts, is there bots that go around checking if such a person exists anymore? How does that manage?
That's a great question. For example, from LinkedIn, 830 million in 20 years, I guess that a lot have died. And no, they don't check for, and I can say that, for example, my mom's Facebook page is there, and she's been there for quite a while. We can't delete it because we can't access it, so it's still there. We messaged Facebook, they never did anything about it. And so, yeah, there's a lot of people. That's why I liked Adobe Data, because they went for monthly users. So we know that's people that's active on the platform. Because if you go for registered users, the number is fantastically larger, right? So that's why it's interesting to have monthly users, because then you know that at least that person went to the platform once in the last month. Okay, good. Okay, so let's see the results here.
David
Oh,
also has his hand up.
Oh, where's David? I didn't see David. Hey, David, do you have a question? Yep. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're on mute. Yeah. Where are you?
Sorry,
Okay.
I was just curious, among the people on this session, how many are using LinkedIn? Just curious.
Oh, let's just see one thing, because, oh no, Lois, we removed LinkedIn, right, from the list. Yeah, we had LinkedIn, we removed from the list. Yeah. It would be nice to know. Yeah, but we removed LinkedIn. All right, that was not a good move. We have here the result of the poll. Well, I'm happy. That's very nice.
Why don't we just have right now everyone that uses LinkedIn to put their hand up?
Raise the hand. Yeah. Raise the hand. Yep. And me, I'll do it here. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 7. Do you use it, Lois?
No, I'm retired. I don't pay any attention.
But you could contribute. You're the kind of person that could contribute with your knowledge, your experience.
Oh, okay. I'll see.
Yeah, that's nice. It's very nice. Okay, so moving on. Now, the real revolution. We saw a lot happening, but there's a piece of the puzzle that it's very interesting. We didn't cover until now.
Before cell phones, there were car phones.
Good morning, Mr. Cardinal. How did the market open?
In fact, the original car phone weighed about 80 pounds. In 1947, an engineer at Bell Labs envisioned a futuristic phone network for their car phones. The call would bounce uninterrupted between cells of coverage. At the time, the technology and the infrastructure for this did not exist, but it soon would. The car phones quickly became popular despite their limitations. Only a limited number of people could use the service at a time, which meant 5 to 10 year waiting lists began to form. And existing customers could sometimes wait up to 30 minutes to place a call. But then, in 1973, Motorola engineer Martin Cooper showed what the future would look like, the Dynatac 8000X. Based on Bell's cell network concept, it was the world's first handheld cell phone. 10 years and a $100 million investment later, Motorola finally released the phone to the public.
I'd like to order a large pizza with mushrooms, anchovies, and the hottest peppers you can find.
The decade-long delay was caused by the need to build the cellular infrastructure the phone required to operate. The phone took 10 hours to charge, lasted 35 minutes, and cost $3,995, which would be about $10,000 today.
Industry watchers say there are only a few thousand cellular phones in use right now, but that number is expected to grow considerably within the next few years during the cellular revolution.
Ahead of its time, the IBM Simon could be considered the world's first smartphone, the world's first touchscreen phone, and the first phone to have software apps. It cost around $1,099 new, which would be around $1,800 today.
Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone. But what we're going to do is get rid of all these buttons and just make a giant screen. A giant scoop.
Just 1 month after one of the most popular BlackBerry devices was released, the original iPhone hit shelves nationwide. It would go on to sell more than 6 million units, with new models introduced every year. The iPhone would forever change mobile phones, the computer industry, and technology forever. Today's cell phones are a far cry from the $10,000 Dynatac phone of 1983. And for many people, the phone feature has become one of the least used features. But in the future, phones can make another drastic change. The World Economic Forum thinks the first implantable phones will become commercially available by 2024.
Okay, before I comment on this,
They forgot the shoe phone.
Oh yeah, that's true. So before I comment on this, I'll give time for an expert to talk about smartphones. Okay.
Importance of smartphones. Mobile phone is a device mainly used for a voice call. Nowadays, mobile phones are also used for SMS, internet browsing, playing video games, photography, sending emails, and a lot more things. Mobile phone is also called as a smartphone. Smartphone keeps us connected. We can call anyone in the world very easily. We can access internet with our smartphones. We can gain a lot of knowledge from websites and YouTube channels. We can watch movies, listen to music, play video games on the smartphones.
Okay, so after the talk from the expert, I love this video. This kid talking about smartphones, and pretty much he summarized in a paragraph about smartphones. Right? We don't use them for calls anymore, but it's kind of a conspiracy. We had a network that was developed in the 40s, or an infrastructure that started to be developed in the 40s. We have another infrastructure that started to be developed in the late 60s, and then we had a protocol, the HTTP thing, that allowed a different kind of interaction, and those in the end, with a new device, got us where we are today. I'm pretty sure that everybody here has a smartphone of some sort and uses it for something, not for calls during the day. So I love what this kid said, and see, it keeps us connected. You can browse, you can play video games, you can send SMS, you can take pictures. It's embedded in our lives in a way that's indescribable. And today is the 15th anniversary of the iPhone. So it's interesting, that coincidence of everything. So along everything conspired to get social media where it is today. Because if people had to use social media on their computers, even if they were laptops, they would social media wouldn't be that big of a thing, right? Because it's not so easy to bring your laptop everywhere, and the battery doesn't last for a full day, and you can't keep it. You don't bring it to the bathroom and see Instagram or things like that, right? And I'm pretty sure nobody does it here, but who knows? So everything conspired to get us where we are today, and that's why social media is what it is today, not because of one thing or because of Mark Zuckerberg or whatever. No, it's a lot of things had to happen in order to bring us where we are today, with social media, for the good or the bad of it, right? I don't know why the B videos are playing twice. Okay, so now going back to that meeting on May 18th. So this is pretty much the same presentation I did that day. Okay, so let's see if you guys remember. Remember, I asked you to keep some things in mind. Let's see who kept the things in mind. Okay, see what you remember about those words I asked you to keep in mind. Yeah, for this one I have to give more time. Yeah, it's hard. Okay, I have 2 votes, 3. Yeah, okay, take your time because this is complicated. Okay, let's see. Let's put some pressure. I'll give you 20 seconds. Let's see. In 20 seconds, I'll end the poll. 15, 10. Let's see. Oh, I have 9 votes already. Okay. So let's see. Okay, so let's end the poll. And before I share the results, let's move on to the next slide. So let's see. Now let's share. The first one is importance, right? And then, oops, preference, relevance, and constant updates. Okay, so it's letter D. Wow, only one. Okay, why this? Why we have to understand and why do we have to keep in mind these concepts when we are talking about social media and internet? And we talked about it during our meeting, our board meeting, because this is the current situation that I mapped for ASC. So our presence is limited, okay, and we are not coherent. Look and feel, I didn't cover look and feel here, but for example, no cross link between channels, right? So this the reference, hectic frequency, you have to have constant updates, remember? Younger channels, we are not exploring younger people and we are not getting any younger, so we need to bring younger people to our group. We don't have a target, so we kind of shoot everywhere, and we need to have relevance. We need to show to the search engines that we are dealing with specific topics, and that's how we're going to show more results on indexing. Okay, so we are missing opportunities. We need to work on our social media strategy. So we have started. Pretty much I'm late, so that's my fault because that day people said, okay, I have to do it. Robert is helping a lot to make things move on. Wix is not helping so much. And I decided, I didn't have much time, so I decided to focus on this presentation because I think it's important that we are all on the same page. So hopefully by next week, I'll start working more on our social media strategy. The proposition is to connect all platforms with similar look and feel. Today, they are kind of separate. We need to add blog functionality to our website. And why? Because if we use the blog, and it's actually, I should have changed the order here because you see the last one, the content should start as blog posts whenever possible. So we create a blog post about some content that can even be a reference to content from someone else. Okay, there's no problem with that. We are commenting, we are adding content, adding relevance to that content. And from that blog post, we create the post to our social media. And then we are creating to ourselves the reference. We are referencing our own content. It helps us to be more relevant. We have to start using Twitter, Instagram, and Reddit because of the younger audience, right? And improve SEO. SEO is the acronym for search engine optimization, is how you optimize your content. So the search engines, and we don't have only Google, we have Bing, we have the Russian one that I forgot the name now. They are all searching, and so they all pretty much use the same philosophy or procedure. Okay, so we have to standardize hashtags. Now we know what hashtags are, and we are not using them. So they are interesting to create relevance and again creating reference. And define keywords for search. We have to make sure that the keywords we want to represent ASC, they are in our content. So we make them more important for the search engines. And we all should take part. And when I mean this is, we all as a group, whenever we comment on something, we can use hashtags. We can use the keywords we want to reference. we can follow the content providers that we think are relevant to our strategy. Okay, so we all can be part of this movement as long as we have a shared philosophy of how to do things. Okay, and we have to have a frequency. So this, at least once a day, follow and post comments on channels of interest regularly, at least once a day. This was for board members and for me and a few other people that said, okay, we can do that. And it doesn't have to be every day on Twitter, or once a day you interact with some content. Okay, you give a thumbs up, you can do some kind of interaction with some content that would, in this case, would relate to ASC. So it can't be everybody. In this case, it has to be people from ASC. We have to define our strengths. We have lots of strengths, but we need to focus. We need to define which ones we are going to focus. Remember, of course, we can't all talk in place of ASC, but we can act in a way that would represent our best values, right? Because of course, only board members can represent ASC, but we all as members can go and have a shared value with all the platforms that we interact with. And of course, define topics of interest that we are going to follow. And these are just some options: humanism, choice, peace, climate change, religion. We can't do everything. We have to focus on a few items. Of course, as individuals, we can do whatever we want. But if we're planning on increasing our presence, we have to make sure that, okay, so these topics are of interest of ASC. I'm a member, so why not follow this content and see if I can bring our word to this kind of content and be related there, again, as an individual, right? Okay, so we are 1 hour and 2 minutes in the presentation. I don't know how long we have, but we have several topics that we can cover as long as we want. Okay, so we have 8 topics here that you guys will choose which ones will be the next. Okay, and we can move on. Before we move on, any questions about what we saw so far? We're good? Okay, so let me launch the poll here. And you have 10 seconds to choose a topic, the next topic. Okay, so let's see. Oops. Okay, let's see. And poll. Let's see what we get here. So the next one, we have a tie here. So we have a tie between 3 topics. We can have another vote later. So we have phishing scams, VPN, and Bitcoin. Okay, so let's go in order. I think we can do at least these 3, and then we'll see how much time we have later. So let's go for phishing scams.
Phishing is a method of trying to gather personal information using deceptive emails and websites. Stay tuned for what you need to know about this increasingly sophisticated form of cyber attack. The goal of phishing is to trick an email recipient into believing that the message is something they want or need, a request from their bank, for instance, or a note from someone in their company, and to click a link or download an attachment. Fish is pronounced just like it's spelled, which is to say like the word fish. The analogy is of an angler throwing a baited hook out there, the phishing email, and hoping you bite. What really distinguishes phishing is that attackers masquerade as a trusted entity of some kind, often a real or plausibly real person or a company the victim might do business with. It might be your boss, your bank, or a company whose software you use. Perhaps one of the most consequential phishing attacks in history happened in 2016, when Russian hackers managed to get Hillary Clinton's campaign chair, John Podesta, to offer up the password to his personal Gmail account. How did they do it? The hacker sent an email warning Mr. Podesta that someone had his password and that he should change it immediately. Clicking on a link in the email took him to a fake login page. This is a classic ploy, and one all of us would hope we would see for what it is. But email scammers are constantly honing their craft, trying new pitches, and pulling new strings. One way to get familiar with their tactics is to study the email messages that scammers send. Here are a few real-world examples and how they work. 1. Your account has been hacked. The person sending this threatening phishing message found a group email that was publicly available on the company's site. Using that list to target the message was smart. Not so smart was the content of the message, in which the would-be attacker reveals a lack of understanding of how malware works. 2. Password reset. Taking advantage of the fact that no one wants to miss a paycheck, messages like this one aim to trick the user into revealing important data, often a username and password that the attacker can use to breach a system or account. 3. Payment request. This email has enough information specific to the target company to give even the most phishing-savvy recipients pause. The key to not getting caught in this trap is to know your company's processes and to be able to spot anomalies. 4. Charity donation. Here the scammer is counting on the greed and gullibility of the recipient. This theme of giving something away for free is a common one and preys on human nature. The key thing to remember is if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Thanks for watching and stay safe out there.
Okay, so phishing scams, they're everywhere. Okay, so this is my spam box. Okay, so you can see here it's from just a few minutes ago. I have here, unfortunately it's in Portuguese, but it says that I won a prize, 10 points, get it now. Okay, so one important thing when you get an email is go to the bottom of the page. Okay, so I'll copy the link address. You see there's a link at the bottom left of the page, and I'll just paste it here so you can all see. It's a crazy thing, right? How you can get ahead of something like this and to know if it's a scam. Well, remember that HTTP, it's always here, right? So this beginning you can ignore because this is always here, right? And here, Agência Ajax is the name of the company that sent me, but I don't know if there's there because you have lots of things later, right? So check the first // What comes before the / and the dot is what we call the domain. Okay, so from here you can understand, okay, if it's I received an email from Microsoft, but here I don't see Microsoft.com. Uh-oh, red light. Okay, don't click it. It's not from Microsoft. Okay, it can even be legit, but we don't know. Right? So again, what did I do here? I just got the link that you can see at the bottom of the page here. Okay, so I right-clicked, I copied, and I pasted here. Okay, so I'll delete the beginning because it's always the same, and you delete what's after the first /. Okay, this part here can be .com, can be .tv, can be .io, .ca, .co.uk, .co.au. Okay, but this ending here doesn't change much. And this part here is what we call the domain. Okay, so if this here doesn't reflect the company from where you got the email from, that's probably a scam. So be cautious. And this is just one email that I got, 10:26 a.m. Okay, and my spam is kind of huge. I have thousands and thousands of spam messages here, and at least a third of them is scam. Okay, you have to be very cautious every time we use it. Can they go through SMS? Of course, you guys probably got SMSs with some links. Oh, you got a prize. Oh, CRA, or someone called and click one because otherwise you're going to be arrested. Forget it. Companies, honest companies won't do that. They will never do this kind of thing. Okay, and I'm pretty sure everybody here was received some kind of contact from there. So unfortunately, we have to be cautious about it. Okay, and nowadays what's becoming common is people start on social media or even those dating apps. They fake that you're trying to get a relationship with you, and then they send a link, and then you're screwed. And that's how it was Jim, right, that had the Facebook scammed. Sometimes we don't even realize, but we open the doors to people to get into our Facebooks, not because we gave them our passwords, but that's just because we gave them our emails. If they know our email and our passwords are not strong enough, they can hack it. Okay? They can hack it. These platforms are being attacked all the time. So if they know your email, there's a big chance that they will try to hack your account, especially if you have a common email like mine. Okay, I'm the guy that's always the target. I always consider myself a target not because of Canada, but because my name is common in Brazil, and Brazil is crazy with hacking and everything, right? So next one is VPN. So let's see VPN.
You probably heard of a VPN before. It's even possible you've used one before. But do you know what it does? A VPN stands for Virtual Private Network, which basically means it gives you privacy online. Originally, VPNs were only used in business settings where big businesses, organizations, or governments wanted to secure their data. Since people worked remotely and needed to connect online, businesses needed to create a secure connection. Otherwise, they were at risk for hacking or other loss of data. Nowadays, VPNs are used by everyone, specifically because it ensures your location stays private, your data is encrypted, and that you can surf the web anonymously. But how does it work? Let's back up for a second to understand how the internet works. When you visit a site like Facebook or Twitter, you type in a domain name. That domain is basically a nickname for the website's IP address. An IP address is just like your home address, only it consists of numbers and not street names. Since it's much easier to remember names than a string of numbers, we give websites domain names and a server translates them. Your computer has an IP address too, and so does every device browsing the internet. When you type in a website's domain name on your browser, whether you're using Chrome, Firefox, or even Internet Explorer, you send your data into the internet until it reaches a server. That server then translates the data and sends you back the website you requested. The problem is, when you send that data to the server, you're sending them your IP address and a lot of other information too. This is where hackers can intercept your information. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop using their public Wi-Fi on your phone and you want to check your bank account. Someone else with a laptop can easily log into the network and get a hold of your passwords, emails, and other information you might have. But if you use a VPN, they won't be able to access that. The websites you visit can also gather your information, but they tend to do it in order to study their demographic. Usually, it's not a problem, but sometimes you want to protect your identity and privacy. So how does a VPN protect my privacy? When you send information online, a VPN creates a tunnel that encrypts your information. This way, if someone gets a hold of your data, they won't be able to read it. The tunnel also makes it harder to hack in, but don't be fooled. It is still possible, just much harder to do. A VPN also adds in an extra server. We spoke about how you send data from your computer to a server, and then that server pings you back with the website. But with VPN, your data goes to their server first, and then it's sent out to the website. This extra step helps in a lot of ways. First, it can change your location. A lot of video streaming websites like Netflix and Hulu have strict content depending on your geolocation. Let's say you want to watch your favorite show on Netflix, but it's not available in your country. You send your information to one of the VPN servers in America, and then that server sends it to the Netflix website. Netflix now thinks you're in America, and you can stream your show without any problems. A VPN tricks them into thinking you're in a different location because the signal is coming from a different server. Clever, right? Changing your location can also be helpful when booking a hotel or flight. Research has shown that hotels and flight prices change depending on your location, and a VPN could potentially save you lots of money. But let's get back to your privacy. Remember how we mentioned websites sometimes collect your data? Well, many times governments can request this information and use the listed IP addresses to track your location. But with a VPN, their information only reaches the VPN server. They can't track you back to your original IP address. See how cool that is? Many VPNs also have a no logs policy, which means they don't record what sites you visit. So if the government requests a VPN provider for tracking logs, your information won't be there. VPNs are really handy when it comes to keeping your privacy safe on the web. By changing your location, encrypting your data, and ensuring your privacy, it's no wonder so many people use them these days. Now that you know what a VPN is, it's time to go get one.
Okay, so a VPN is pretty much this. Okay, this is a piece of pipe. You can see it here, okay, but you have no idea what's inside. The only ones that can see what's inside are the ones that have the keys to both sides of the VPN. It's not a panacea. It won't solve anything. And some things he commented about no logging and everything. It will depend on the VPN service. But I trust VPNs a lot. For example, this is my phone. Okay, so this is my phone. You can see here there's a key here. This is a VPN. Okay, and I have more than one. As I said, I consider myself always a target, so I have two. Okay. Will it solve everything? No. But for example, if you are a victim of a phishing scam, and you click on you are on a cafe, you're using the free internet, you are a victim of a phishing scam, and someone is trying to hack your computer. If you are using a VPN, you're kind of protected, because only the person that's on the other side of that access can access your computer, not anymore in the cafe. So it won't solve all your problems, but it will definitely make you a little safer than if you're not using it. And I've used it to access, for example, HBO content in the US that we don't have here in Canada and things like that. So it's interesting. It's another tool in the toolbox to keep yourself safe. Okay. And now, any questions about VPNs? Companies use them a lot since at least the 80s. Anyone who had to use a token to access their company's service, for example, who had those key fobs that had numbers and they had to type the numbers. That was a VPN as well, and that was the key that you had to use to access it. And Bitcoin, NFT, blockchain. Okay, let's say this one.
When you vote, have you ever wondered whether your ballot is actually counted? If you meet someone online, how do you know they're who they say they are? When you buy coffee that's labeled fair trade, what makes you so certain of its origin? To be sure, really sure, about any of those questions, you'd need a system where records could be stored, facts could be verified by anyone, and security is guaranteed. That way, no one could cheat the system by editing records, because everyone using the system would be watching. Systems like this are on the horizon, and the software that powers them is called a blockchain. Blockchains store information across a network of personal computers, making them not just decentralized, but distributed. This means no central company or person owns the system, yet everyone can use it and help run it. This is important because it means it's difficult for any one person to take down the network or corrupt it. The people who run the system use their computer to hold bundles of records submitted by others, known as blocks, in a chronological chain. The blockchain uses a form of math called cryptography to ensure that records can't be counterfeited or changed by anyone else. You've probably heard of the blockchain's first killer app, a form of digital cash called Bitcoin that you can send to anyone, even a complete stranger. Bitcoin is different from credit cards, PayPal, or other ways to send money because there isn't a bank or financial middleman involved. Instead, people from all over the world help move the digital money by validating others' Bitcoin transactions with their personal computers, earning a small fee in the process. Bitcoin uses the blockchain by tracking records of ownership over this digital cash, so only one person can be the owner at a time and the cash can't be spent twice, like counterfeit money in the physical world can. But Bitcoin is just the beginning for blockchains. In the future, blockchains that manage and verify online data could enable us to launch companies that are entirely run by algorithms, making self-driving cars safer, help us protect our online identities, and even track the billions of devices on the Internet of Things. These innovations will change our lives forever, and it's all just beginning. To learn more about the urgent future of the blockchain, please visit iftf.org/blockchainfutureslab.
Okay, so why did I use to talk about blockchain? Because Bitcoin, NFTs, and other stuff, they are applications of this technology. And it's pretty much a ledger. Whoever here worked with accounting knows what a ledger is. And so that's a ledger. A ledger, you can't go back and erase it, right? You go from top to bottom and you add one line and you start. Oh, yes, Larry.
People seem to think that Bitcoin transactions are untraceable, but they're not, because the whole thing is kept in, every transaction that is made is kept, and they know who created this Bitcoin wallet and who's spending the money. That was the reason why the U.S. was able to get back a whole bunch of money that was ransomwared from a bunch of people in the States a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. It's the opposite what people think, because that record is public. It's like a notary. You can go and check, and anyone can go. To be honest, I don't know how to do it. Okay, it's not. You can do it. I know you can, but I never try to go there and check the ledger. But it's there. You can check it.
Yeah.
It's like going to the bank and asking for your money. Your money is you know that it's there. At least it's supposed to be.
Now there are
it's
ways.
Recorded. Yeah.
Yeah, there are ways where you can anonymize your wallet, essentially going through someone else that gives you a wallet.
Yeah, if you guys, well, I'll give you it's a spoiler, but if you guys go to the next topic as deep web, I can show you how to hide your.
Now, my understanding is my understanding, there is a NFT that is totally anonymous.
No, yeah, actually NFT uses the same technology. It's the blockchain. Okay, so as I was saying, blockchain is a technology, and Bitcoin is money or coins based on that technology that guarantees that only you have access. Because what's the difference between a $20 bill and digital money? A $20 bill, it's in your pocket, right?
Yeah, yeah, and
Right?
it doesn't lose
Right?
value overnight.
Yeah, and but you can prove you have a piece of paper. For example, I have a Bitcoin wallet here, but I don't have Bitcoins. I'm a poor guy, right? But I can request coins from someone, and that someone, and it's so expensive that here it shows in thousands, so it's milli coins, right? So I can request an amount, and people can scan my QR code here, and I will receive the coins, and that title or that it will be transferred to me, and that person can't use that money anymore. So in a sense, it's something that you can't replicate, right? And it's the same idea with NFTs. Why people say that NFTs are so good? Because you can't replicate them. And I don't know why.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Sorry, I was using the wrong term. Bitcoin is electronic money, right?
Mm.
But it's not just Bitcoin.
Oh no, yeah, it's again just it's a technology. When that girl, I think she exaggerated a little bit, but for example, banks are thinking about using the same technology, and other companies because it's a very safe way, and since no one can hack the system,
Because
it's
everybody has
very
a record
secure.
of every
Yeah,
transaction.
everybody has a record. So if you want to change something, it will show in the records. Every change, it's like that's why I compare to a notary when you have a I forgot what's the name of when you have a house and you have a document, I forgot the name.
Land title.
Yeah, the title of the house. You have the history of that house, who owned it, when that house was sold, and things like that. So with blockchain, you have the same thing. And now they are using it for NFTs. For example, this is a site that works with NFTs. So I don't know if you guys heard of the board monkeys. Right? So you can come here and you can buy a board monkey picture. Oh, you can pay, let's see, oh, I'm going to buy this one.
2 cents?
No, it's 2.02 Bitcoin.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's very expensive. But
Yes.
come on, I can come here and I'll screenshot it and go to my paint, right? And I own it. So why should I care? Right? So yeah, it's here. Okay, it's here. I own it. It's in my computer now.
Yeah,
Okay,
I know.
I'm kidding. I know that's not. But
NFTs, I just don't understand why rich people would buy this stuff. But
yeah, for me, it's money laundering. I don't see it as any other thing, right? But this is just one example. You can buy lots of stuff. So NFT is a digital stamp, pretty much, that you put on your
essentially
product.
says you have the first copy.
Yes.
Right.
Pretty much. And well, this site, OpenSea.io, is a site for NFTs. And for example, what's the difference between these guys? I can't see. Probably there is. But I can't see the difference. And they cost a lot, 0.73 Bitcoin. So it's what? $15,000 or something like that. So it's too much.
My comment earlier about you can have, it's not Bitcoin. I forget what the name of the.
Oh, Ethereum. You have several coins.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, and it's not traceable. And
yeah, I think Ethereum is harder. This is an Ethereum an Ethereum wallet. Again, I don't have any, but Ethereum they are a little bit harder to track. But it's the same concept of blockchain. So the blockchain. So for you guys to understand, when you want to do it, let's say you go to a bank and you want to deposit money. For that transaction to be authenticated using blockchain, you have to have a computer generating a code that will match the transaction, and it's very complicated, and I don't even understand it properly. But whenever you get that code right, your computer that's working for the whole community, and it's time to issue a new Bitcoin, you get a Bitcoin. That's why they call mining. That's why you're mining Bitcoins, because every 10 minutes, 10 or 4 minutes, now I need to update, one Bitcoin is issued. And if it happens, your computer generates the code exactly at the same time, you get a Bitcoin. And
wow.
Bitcoins are worth what, $20,000 or something now, right? So
The only problem is it'll cost you more electricity to generate.
yeah, that's the thing. Now it's much more expensive. And why electricity? Because the computers, they are developed for that, and they use a lot of power, and they generate a lot of heat. You need air conditioning and things like that. So that's why blockchain might not be the solution, and that's why I said that girl might be a little over hype with the technology. And nowadays, because they were seeing that Bitcoins is limited. Okay, you can only have 21 million something Bitcoins, and in 100 years they'll finish. But the thing is, every period they take longer to generate. So now we are generating one Bitcoin. I don't remember exactly if it's 4 or 10 minutes. So in a few years, it will be one every 20 minutes, and then one every 30 minutes, and so on and so forth, until in 100 something years we won't have more Bitcoins.
No,
So they developed the Bitcoin Cash. That was supposed to be an easier tool to be used, because it's you have more volume. But again, the technology is the same, so it's again power consuming and everything else to use it. And it's expensive to do a transaction with Bitcoins. It's not cheap. You pay like $10 per transaction. It's not something that's you can do all the time.
And the transactions aren't fast either, are they?
Yeah, they can take seconds to minutes, right? So for example, if I want to send, if I want to, yeah. Oh, here it doesn't show the fee, but there's a fee. It's expensive to use, and that's why it's not going. Unfortunately, Pierre Poilievre didn't choose the right platform to be elected.
When you vote, have you ever
Bitcoins and that crypto money is not the answer for sure. Okay, Stephen.
Yeah, just follow up with your comment about blockchain. Actually, blockchain is used in other areas, especially today in the supply chain management.
Yep.
We do use blockchain running parallel to supply chain management. And this is a good time to bring that up, because summer is here and we are all going to eat fresh vegetables and salad. And you all hear about that romaine lettuce. I think it was last year, E. coli contamination. And the supermarket were very quickly able to recall a certain batch of romaine lettuce. Now, how do they know which batch and which farm in Arizona that batch of romaine lettuce with E. coli came from? It was actually through the blockchain technology, because every step of the way, from the harvest, transportation to the retail of your romaine lettuce, there is a blockchain ledger.
Yeah.
Flowing.
It's all registered. Yeah.
It's all registered. So you can always point the ledger backward to the farm, the origin where it came from, and stop that batch and record that batch from the shelf. So this is something about blockchain. We all know blockchain is used in cryptocurrency, but in fact, it's very widely used in supply chain management now.
Yeah, it's a ledger, right? And you can't change it.
No.
If someone hacks one node, all the other nodes will know, and that node is discarded. Mm-hmm. So it's very safe. The technology per se is very good, but the design and the way it authenticates, it's too consuming. It's very expensive. But yeah, it's a very good technology, for sure. And Larry, you want to ask something? You have your hands.
Sorry,
oh, okay.
I'll lower it.
Okay, so well, we are 8:37, 1 hour and a half for me. I can move on. Oh, I was showing the results. So let's see.
Don has his hand up.
Oh yeah, Don.
Yeah, just a question on social media. So, are we at a place where this social media activity is plateauing, or do you see more advancements in it? Like, it's such a part of our lives now that what more could happen with
Yeah,
social media?
this is not much of the technology part, but what we always see is when you have something new, the younger audience are the first ones to adopt it, right? So like Facebook, once was only the younger generation, and then when the older people start to go into that platform, the younger ones start looking for something else, and then that's when we had Instagram, right? And then that's where when older people started to go into Instagram, they went to Snapchat, and so we always see that flow of people going. And what I see now, and actually for me it was a surprise. I didn't think Facebook would last so long, because the first ones didn't last long, MySpace and Second Life especially. So I believe that now people got used to Facebook, and I use Facebook to connect to a lot of people, and I use Instagram. So now you start to have more than one. We'll probably maybe with the metaverse, I don't know. Again, the younger people could find other things to connect, but who knows what's coming next, right? Well, what the ones I mentioned are the ones that are growing. And here, TikTok and Snapchat are the ones that are growing among the younger people. But I see that now another audience is using TikTok. So let's see what's going to happen to TikTok. It's even changing the profile. There's a lot of educational videos and things like that. So probably the younger audience will start to look for something new. And with that platform I mentioned, Mastodon, you can have a school generating their own social media, or a city, or who knows what they can do with a platform like that, where you can create your own social media. So yeah, only time will tell what's going to happen. Honestly, I don't know. I just follow. Whenever they create one, I create my login, because as I said, my name is common. So I try to be the first to use it and save my name. But other than that, it's just a guess. And even the guys, for example, Facebook bought Instagram, and now Instagram has Snapchat features. So they kind of blend and get mixed. And in the end, everything's pretty much the same. Yeah, it's weird. Let's see what's going to happen. Okay, so let's have the poll again. So remember, we already did phishing scams, VPNs, and Bitcoin. So you can vote on the other one, B, C, D, F, and G.
B, C, F, and G.
Yeah, B, C, D, F, and G. Let's see, I have 4 votes. Let's give the timer. Let's see what's going to happen. 7 votes, 8 votes, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. And poll. And we have another tie. Password. Oops. Stop, guy. Yeah. We have another tie here. So password managers in deep dark web. Okay, so let's stop sharing and let's go to password managers.
The average person has 27 unique web logins. To create an account on a site, you have to register with a username and password, and most people pick passwords that are easy to remember. Actually, a lot of us end up using the same password for all of our websites, which is understandable, but risky. There are many different ways that hackers can get your password. They can use programs that try to guess it by randomly cycling through different combinations, hacking the website itself, or phishing by sending fake emails that look like they're from a website or company, but actually aren't. All of this spells bad news for people that reuse the same password, because you're putting yourself at much higher risk for hackers being able to get into your emails, your photos, and even your bank info. Last year, Yahoo made headlines when it was the victim of a massive cyber attack, with sensitive information being stolen from 1 billion accounts. So if you had a Yahoo account and you use that same password for other sites, you are now vulnerable to all those other accounts being hacked too. Every time there's a big hack like this, experts tell us to stop using the same password for every website. In fact, they say we should stop memorizing our passwords altogether, recommending that we use something called a password manager instead. I know, it already sounds complicated, but trust me, it's really not, and it'll help make all of your accounts much more secure. We currently think of passwords as things that we memorize and store inside our heads. But since we're really bad at remembering random things, there's a limit to how complex your password can be, and how many different ones you'll be able to remember. As a result, most people have really simple passwords, and many use the same one across all their logins. This sucks because if a hacker gets access to your one password, they then have access to all of your different accounts. And if your password is uncomplicated, it's astonishingly easy for hackers to guess it. For instance, if you use a password like, well, password, which is actually the 8th most commonly used one, it would take a hacker mere milliseconds to guess it. But if you use a password manager to generate a 15-digit series of random upper and lowercase letters and numbers, that time jumps up to 609 million years. The biggest thing we need to do is stop keeping our passwords in our heads. Instead, we need to put them somewhere else and lock them up, like a virtual safe. This is what the password manager does. It's basically an app that keeps all of your passwords secure inside of a safe that only you can unlock. This way you only need to remember one password. And once you unlock the safe, you can see all of your many different passwords in one place. Since it's an app, you can access your passwords from any device you've installed it on. And since you don't need to remember all your passwords anymore, you can make them really long and complicated. So what happens if your password manager gets hacked? They would have access to all of your individual passwords then, right? Not necessarily. The password manager encrypts your data, so if a hacker looks inside your safe, all they'll see is scrambled passwords. LastPass was hacked in 2015, and users had to change their master passwords, but the individual passwords inside were safe because of this encryption. It may seem like it would be annoying to have to retrieve your password for every single website, but actually, most password managers have browser plugins that automatically fill your info in for you. So in many cases, it's actually easier. And besides, it's better than the alternative, becoming one of the millions of Americans that get hacked every year.
Yeah, password managers, they help. It's better than nothing. So if you have the same password for everything, it's nice to have a big password for one password manager and have a very good one. I personally don't use. I have a mental algorithm that so I have different passwords for every site because I calculate immediately. But that's because I'm a nerd and I like algorithms. Yeah. So, but they're good. Okay, and then okay, Larry, just a second. I'll open for you. And this topic, it connects to VPNs and also phishing scams, right? Because everybody's trying to get your data. So the way whatever you do to try and protect your data, you're adding one layer of difficulty for anyone that's trying to hack and get your data. So it's a good choice. It's encrypted. So as the guy said on the video, even if the service was hacked, the passwords were protected because of encryption. It's like HTTPS. When you have that padlock on your website, you know that your connection is encrypted. So at least you know that no one is checking your transmission. Okay, they can get only to the points, the endpoint, but not in between. And the same as VPNs. So yes, Larry, what's your question?
I was just making a statement. The Mac has a built-in password manager.
Yes.
And of course, the only problem with all of these is that if the password for your computer is very simple, if somebody gets on the computer, they have access to all your passwords. And it doesn't matter whether you have a 20-character password to your bank account. Your 5-character password to your computer is the whole.
Yeah. Yes, the weak link. Yeah, you have to always think about the weakest link in the chain, because that would be the one they will hack. If you have a good password manager, but your computer is easy to hack, so they can try and hack your password manager. It's difficult, but anyway, it's a risk, and you have a lot of data, and we have a lot of data in our computers these days, right? Yeah. So yeah, you have to have at least the first point of access has to have a good password. So if it's your phone, have a login or your digital, or oh, my phone is hot here. And for example, my phone, if someone tries to access it more than 10 times, it factory resets. So at least I have that safety that if someone steals my phone, they have 10 tries, and then they could have something else to try and hack it. But yeah, we have to add difficulty, and then the hackers will go to the next one that's easier to hack. the guy says 609 million tries, but actually they have algorithms that can be faster, and who knows with quantum computers how fast would be to hack. But even so, it's easier to get a non-encrypted password than password manager, right? So yeah,
The average person
everything is
27 unique web logins.
complicated, but whenever we can add a layer of difficulty, it's better to do that.
I remember something about the FBI wanting Apple to hack someone's phone, and Apple wouldn't do it. But
yeah,
the FBI, I thought they went to an Israeli company, and they were able to hack it. Do you have any idea how they did that?
I don't remember. I remember they hacked it, but I don't remember ever learning how they did it. Hello, Larry?
I
Yeah.
can imagine that they took the phone apart and copied the data from the memory card. Is just kept going and going and going.
Oh, they hacked the chip.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a way too. So the data wasn't encrypted in the chip, right? So that's a flaw in the system. The data should be stored.
Not necessarily. They would duplicate the data on the chip such that they could go past 10 passwords.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's something that can do. Of course, I don't think they would do it to my phone. Yeah, but they can do it. Yeah, for sure. If they are looking really, if they really want it, they're gonna find a way to do it. Yeah. So the best way would be just to encrypt the data on your phone, because then even Apple couldn't access it. But who knows?
I think it is normally encrypted, but you have to have a better password than, a 5-character word or the word password.
Yeah, but the FBI, the NSA, they have computers dedicated to do that. They can do thousands of hours of work in minutes. So yeah, they can do it in a few days or weeks. What would take someone 609 million tries, they can do it in 10 days, 1 week, because they have the capacity to do it.
20-character password, they're not going to get it.
Yeah, especially if you mix special characters in the upper and lower case and numbers, it will be almost impossible. Yeah. Okay, so next topic is deep and dark web.
You're watching a video on YouTube, then you head to Amazon to buy your grandma's birthday present.
This internet browsing is taking place on a level of the internet called the surface web. But beneath it are many more layers of the internet in what's known as the deep web.
At the top of these layers are websites that can be accessed
but can't be found by doing a simple search on Google or Bing. Think online banking and government databases, pages that are password encrypted. But what if you keep going down? All the way to the bottom of the deep web. Well, here you'll find the dark web. Here, users can communicate through encrypted messages and can buy and sell anything with total anonymity. It's been called the Wild West of the internet because operating in the shadows are extremists, criminals, and trolls. But where did the dark web come from, and how does it work?
Firstly, the dark web is not a place, but a term that describes parts of the internet that hide your identity and location. The dark web's infrastructure was created in the 1970s at the same time as the internet itself, but to utilize it, you needed darknet software. Enter the US Naval Research Lab, who created back in the early 2000s one of the first and still the most popular darknet software, Tor. It was created for a number of reasons, which included providing the US Navy's intelligence officers with the means to maneuver through the internet without being recognized or traced.
But to really give you an understanding of what the dark web is like, we need to explore it firsthand. So I downloaded Tor, which looks like a normal web browser and seems to behave like one too.
I can visit any site I like, but unlike normal web browsers, which would register my IP address straight away, the Tor browser bounces my request to enter the site via several computers around the world, encrypting and decrypting my identification as it goes, so that no one knows where the request has come from.
Now that I'm browsing the internet anonymously, certain websites have become accessible. Websites like the infamous Silk Road.
The Silk Road was one of the first online black markets where you could buy drugs, guns, and child pornography. 2 years after starting the site, the founder, Ross Ulbricht, was arrested in 2013 and sentenced to life in prison for money laundering, drug trafficking, hacking, and fraud. This was quickly followed by a shutdown of its successor, Silk Road 2.0, along with similar sites such as Project Black Flag and Black Market Reloaded. There are even reports that the FBI has hacked into Tor itself, which subsequently saw the browser's usage drop by nearly 50%. This all gives the impression that the authorities are fighting back, but closing down one or two online markets has simply cleared the way for its competitors. If you didn't want to use the Tor browser, there's ITP or Freenet. Instead of Silk Road 2.0, there's now Dream, Agora or Alphabay, and they all provide the same services. The dark web, however, is not just an eBay for illegal purchases. It's also used by radical extremists to communicate and spread propaganda. But not all activity going on down in the dark web is illegal. Tor, for instance, receives 60% of its backing from the US State Department and the Department of Defense to act as a secure network for both government agencies and political dissidents fighting oppressive regimes. Over the past decade, the dark web has empowered activists to spread news during the Arab Spring and encourage whistleblowers to release information. The dark web, as a tool to help journalists uncover the truth, was made popular by WikiLeaks. Now, news organizations such as the New York Times and The Guardian all host dark web drop sites for uploading anonymously leaked tips and documents. It's also helped domestic violence victims hide from online stalkers and allowed ordinary citizens to surf the web without being tracked by advertisers or even the government, which leaves us with a great dilemma.
If the authorities try and succeed in shutting down the dark web and the criminal activity that it supports, they'll also be adversely affecting all the people that use it for social benefits.
The question remains whether internet freedom and privacy, for legitimate and sometimes life-saving reasons, are worth protecting while this vast criminal underworld operates alongside it, inside the dark web.
Still watching? Perfect. Click here to watch a...
Okay, so the dark web. Let's go to the dark web. The Tor browser they mentioned. Okay, and by the way, I'm a supporter. Okay, you can see this T-shirt. I got it because I'm a supporter of Tor. I support privacy a lot, and I know that there are people in the world that need to have a safe way to communicate. So I support it. Unfortunately, it can be used for good and bad, right? So let's have an example here. As the guy said, we all use the deep web. When you go to your bank, Gmail, whatever, you're going to use the deep web. Right? Everything that has an account, it's protected, is called the deep web. The dark web is other kind of services. So you see that even the address is different, and you can find several services. I think it was Larry who mentioned the Bitcoin that can be traced, right, Larry? Was it you?
Yes.
Yes. So, okay, we can untrace. We can make them untraceable. You go here to the Mixabit Bitcoin mixer, and then you can hide your Bitcoin authenticity. Yeah, you still have the Bitcoin, but you can hide virgin Bitcoins that are not connected to anyone. This, I don't know how it works actually. Hackers, you want some hack? I won't go below one level, okay? Even though I don't recommend anyone even accessing the first page, I'm using a virtual machine in 2 VPNs and Tor to get to these services, because even though the guy said they can't be traced, yeah, they can. Okay? There's even an episode, I think it's the pilot episode of Mr. Robot, where the hacker named Elliot. The thing is, here's the Tor network. Okay, so you have this browser, and then it goes to the Netherlands, Denmark, Russia, 3 other relays, and gets to the site. I can change, I can create a new circuit. So,
you're 6 levels deep, aren't you?
Yeah, and you can have a new circuit. So it's a good idea to create a new circuit from time to time, because then they lose. But the thing is, you don't know who controls all of them. The guard one is always fixed, and it changes every month. But then the other ones, it can be a hacker, it can be a government, it can be someone that's trying to trace your data. It's difficult, it's hard, because you see every time I click here, it changes to other countries. So how they can track, right? Okay, I'm lost. So if you're careful, you can do things here and not be traced. But with this computer, I wouldn't go. Whenever I want to play and see how things are, and I use a laptop that doesn't have anything in it. Yeah, so I can be free. But even so, you don't know who owns the services, because even I think it was the German government. Yeah, they mentioned the Germans on the video. The German government implanted some dark web sites to sell drugs, and they traced the people, and they could imprison them. So rent a hacker Okay, so Cannabis UK, yeah. So very privacy services, email providers. There's one, Proton Mail. I have a Proton Mail. It's an encrypted email, and it's legit. And as the guy said, you have services on the dark web that are legit. You have Facebook, you have news, right? But no one is interested because we have access to it. But people that have privacy issues that they can't be seen accessing those services, they have to use, and that's why I support the service. Oops, there's some dirty words here. And then it's the web. You go from one to the other, and then you can access other things. You can change your identity all the time. Okay, so you start over with a new identity. And in this case, it lost everything, right? So there are ways to make it safer, but this is the dark web, right? And that's how.
Of course, with the dark web is that if you buy something, you have no guarantee you're going to get it.
No, non-guaranteed, nothing. Yeah, nothing is guaranteed.
You're watching a video on YouTube.
You never know
Amazon
what's
to buy your
going on
grandma's birthday
the other
present.
side. And transactions are pretty much all nowadays all in Bitcoin or cash. So because they can't be traced, or the harder to be traced.
The only problem is they don't have a dark web PayPal.
Actually, I didn't show here, but they have. Yeah, there's an interesting one here. Let's go back to. Oops, where is the page? Let me get the link here. I kind of screwed. Yeah, here. There's another one. This one is not even a dark web link, but it leads you to a dark web site. You can have stolen PayPal accounts. Yeah, here premium PayPal, eBay, and bank accounts. They have it. Yeah. Sell your bitcoins for cash, PayPal. Yeah, they have all sorts of services. Human beings are great. Right?
You're watching a video on YouTube.
We're good for this kind of thing. One more poll. Are we done? We have 3 more topics, right? Which ones? Ransomware, TFA, and metaverse. What do you guys want to do?
Let's go from one to the next.
Yeah, let's do one more poll. Lois, are you okay with this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see. Next topic. We only have now B. B. I'm lost.
D, I think, and G.
D and G, yeah. B, D, and G. B, D, and G. Stop it. Okay, let's see. It's interesting. Oh. Okay, so now let's end poll. Well, I ended on purpose because now we have an order. If you want to go to the end, we have an order here. First would be ransomware, and then 2FA, and then metaverse. So let's see, ransomware.
This threat is not imminent. It is upon us.
Cyber attacks against TV stations, food and fuel suppliers, hospitals, water systems. These hacks have been happening for a long time. Ransomware attacks. Ransomware attacks.
Ransomware cyber attacks.
Ransomware. It feels like it's everywhere these days. It's caused gas shortages. It's disrupted our meat supply. But what exactly is ransomware? And what should you do if you're the victim of an attack?
Ransomware is malicious software that encrypts data and then, of course, holds it ransom, right, until somebody pays off. But before you can even get to that point, the ransomware gangs need to get access into systems.
There are multiple ways a hacker can break into a computer system. One of the most common ways is through a phishing email.
And it can attempt to sort of fool or deceive the recipient of the email into thinking it's a real person on the other end, usually getting them to click a link or to download an attachment of some kind, which then might execute the malicious software.
After the hackers gain access to a computer system, they then begin to encrypt the data on it. Encryption is similar to locking the data up, so no one else can get access to it without the key.
And there's sort of a second step to this, and it's an extortion step, where if the victim refuses to pay the ransom for any reason, they'll also threaten to dump some of that data online, sort of up the ante, so to speak.
In short, the hackers are demanding a person or a company pay them in exchange for the key to unlock their data, and often to stop the hackers from leaking any sensitive information. A study of ransomware attacks in the first quarter of 2021 showed that professional services like law firms, the public sector like schools and governments, and the healthcare industry all were targeted by ransomware attacks the most.
I would say that the trend has generally moved towards hitting larger organizations that have deeper pockets, for example, or the types of organizations that typically have very sensitive data.
This is a Russian criminal group. It's originating in Russia. It's called Dark Side.
Catching criminal hackers is tough. For one, they usually demand payment in cryptocurrencies, which are harder to track. One study estimated that roughly $350 million was paid out in ransomware attacks in 2020. And these hacks often originate from countries like Russia, where the US doesn't have an extradition treaty. Experts recommend strengthening your IT infrastructure by keeping systems up to date, by patching security vulnerabilities, monitoring for phishing emails, and having a plan for when a ransomware attack does occur. Companies can also buy insurance specifically for cyber attacks.
You know, it would help to have a mentality that at some point you're going to get hit by one of these things, and you need to know what your next move is and what you're going to do, and to think about especially how you would recover from an incident of this kind.
Hackers can often demand high price tags to get your data back. Colonial Pipeline says it paid $4.4 million to hackers who held their systems at ransom. JBS is one of the world's largest food companies, and it says it paid out $11 million in response to a ransomware attack. The US government encourages people not to pay the ransom, since that could encourage more attacks. There's also no guarantee that attackers won't just release the data once the ransom is paid.
The big question is, so what do we do next? Law enforcement can only do so much, and it might actually come down to negotiating with foreign countries like Russia. It's also possible that the United States military might step in here at some point and play a greater role in defense of the private sector, and so it's another possibility going forward.
Yeah, so if you're a victim,
This threat is
if you're a victim of ransomware, you can find your computer probably like the red one here. It encrypted your computer. When you try to boot it, you have a message saying your hard disk is encrypted. The other one to the left is more for companies because they encrypt the network, so you can't access your data on the network. And companies, sometimes they have the cybersecurity, they have online backups, but the backup is also encrypted. So you have to have offline backups to make sure that you're not a victim. But again, it's connected to phishing scams. So it's the entrance. You have to stop them, nip it at the butt, right? Nip it in the butt because if your computer starts to encrypt itself, you will only realize when it crashes, and when you boot it, then you get something like the red screen here, and it happens. It really happens. It's around. They find some weak point in the operating system, and you're screwed. All the data is encrypted, and you don't have access to it unless you pay, right? And it happens, unfortunately, quite often. It's been a while actually since I last heard. After that company, I forgot the name of the company. I haven't heard of big ones, but they do small attacks and they ask you for $300, $600 just to release your data, right? So it's hard, it's complicated, and it's happening. Again, connected to phishing scams.
What if I put back up my data onto an external hard drive every so often, and can I just wipe my computer and then take everything off the external hard drive?
Yeah, you have to be your hard drive. It's better to be disconnected, and that's the problem, because if you have an online backup, everything that's connected will be affected, because they start with they don't start with the local drives. They start with the network drives.
Okay.
So whenever you don't see it, right?
Okay.
You might see some weird activity on the network or your computer, but you don't realize your data has been all encrypted. So you need to be careful. If it's plugged to your computer, it can be encrypted as well. Everything that's connected.
Okay, I was thinking external hard drive. Every few days, I back up the data to that.
Perfect.
And then disconnect.
Yeah, no, that's the perfect thing. Yeah.
Yeah. I just haven't been backing up often enough, anywhere near often enough.
We all do. we all have that problem. Yeah, that's why I use virtual machines, but it's not everybody that can use, because if someone hacks this machine, I have a backup from last week. I can just come here and throw it away because it's virtual. But if my big one, that one is protected. That one, I can't let anyone get close to it, because then I lose everything, right? But it's dangerous. It's very dangerous. So do you want to go to the next topic?
Well, we've run to the end of time, but I think people are interested enough that
Yeah, we have 2 more videos. So if you guys want to, it's probably 15 minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Going to make one quick comment. Is that okay?
Okay, yeah. Who's talking? Who's talking?
It's Larry.
Oh, yeah, Larry.
The Mac comes with automatic backup software, and you can turn it off. So essentially what I do is I turn it on, and then I turn it off.
Yeah.
And I disconnect the drives, right? So
yeah, you need to double check because it's iCloud, right?
Sorry?
I think for it's iCloud, the service?
No, this is just
the
Mac, Time Machine. Time Machine.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, Time Machine. No, Time Machine is in your house. Because I think that cloud services like Dropbox, iCloud, OneDrive, you're safer.
Yeah.
Because you have the history there. You can restore the data from they won't attack Microsoft, right? They will reach your data on OneDrive, for example, or your data on Dropbox. They don't go to the whole Dropbox service. So probably your data will be safe. I need to double check on that. But I think that cloud services are safer, but they are more expensive as well.
Good night, Stephen. Or Vincent.
Yeah, night. Okay, let's see here.
Passwords are everywhere. We use them to access our money, our communications, even our social lives. At first, we used one password for everything, but that wasn't good enough, so we started making our passwords even more complicated and began using password managers to organize the dozens or hundreds of the unique passwords we used. But no matter how complex our password system was, it was never enough to prevent account takeover, because all it took was one phishing email or database exploit, and your password was out in the world. So if passwords are impossible to protect on their own, what do we do? That's where two-factor authentication comes in. Two-factor authentication, or 2FA, adds a second method of identity verification to secure your accounts. First, the thing you know, your password. Then, something unique that you have, like your phone or fingerprint. By combining your password with one of these factors, attackers can't access your account even if they have your password. The most common 2FA systems use a unique one-time code with every login attempt. This code is tied to your account and generated by a token, smartphone, or sent to you by text message. The more modern and most secure form of 2FA uses a mobile app to send an approval notification to your smartphone or smartwatch for the least hassle possible. With 95% of breaches involving account takeover, two-factor authentication is the most effective method of prevention. It's time for everybody, businesses, governments, and you, to take the easy and effective step of enabling two-factor authentication on all accounts. If it uses a password, it needs to use two-factor authentication.
Yeah, so just so you know, this is, come on. This is a screen from Google Authenticator. I think it's the most common authenticator in the market. It's a token, right? If you guys ever use the token to access your company's VPN, this is a token, and it's generated every few minutes. And when you log in, you put as long as your password is right, it will ask you for a code, an extra code, and then this code changes, and it depends on the device. I use Google Authenticator, Microsoft Authenticator, whatever I can, and you can use opt for SMS. SMS is not so safe. It's not as safe as an app like this because they can crack your SMS, right? So they can clone your phone and get the code. So it can be dangerous, but it's better than nothing, right? So it's just another layer on the services. I have, for whatever I can have authentication, I have, and my list is long of devices, of accounts that I have on my, oops.
You probably heard of a VPN
on
before.
my,
It's even possible you've used one before. You probably heard
what's going on? Oh,
You're watching
on my,
video.
yeah, I clicked something weird here. Right, so well, let's see the last one. Let's go for metaverse.
What actually is the metaverse? Well, if we think of the internet as something that we look at, the metaverse is a version of the internet that we're inside. The idea is that we will experience the metaverse as an avatar, a virtual version of ourselves that we control as we explore this new online frontier. But what will we actually do? Okay, so, Boz, here we are in what might be considered a representation of what the metaverse could be.
Yeah, for us, the metaverse is a spatial construct, as opposed to the previous web, which was really a very linear kind of 2D flat thing. We want this one to be immersive. Now, of course, it doesn't mean it has to be virtual reality. It could also just be on a phone or on a desktop computer.
You might have noticed that we're using the tools of the metaverse to create a good portion of this item. My avatar has been created by a couple of companies, Ready Player Me and Oz. They already create tools for people to make avatars from a photo. It's this virtual version of us which will travel between online experiences in any metaverse.
And then over time, what I'm most excited about is an economy there. And I mean, economy not just of digital goods, sure, and entertainment, that's great, but also services. In an immersive environment, I'm going to have an avatar. I'm going to need a stylist. I'm going to have a home space.
Microsoft has adapted its workplace meeting software Teams for the metaverse by creating a system called Mesh. It's designed to work with a variety of different devices, including virtual and augmented reality. AR, as it's known, projects graphics on top of the real world using headsets like Microsoft's HoloLens or mobile phones. There's quite a few people that have got fatigued by having to have video chat meetings and things of that nature, and that they realise they now crave human contact.
Human communication is about 5%, speech is about 95% everything else. I've been in my living room with the entire team around the table, right? Making eye contact, where all the gestures are coming into the right place. So it changes completely the call it the screen fatigue we're feeling today.
The next piece of the metaverse puzzle isn't just about seeing these virtual worlds, but feeling them as well. Meta has revealed that it's been working on a glove that will let the user feel sensations, like holding an object. The glove has a number of sensors that measure the wearer's movements, and air pockets across the glove surface inflate to create sensation. These gloves aren't quite ready for prime time yet, but they're an indicator of the kind of research that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, so just to end, this is the metaverse. I have here an application that's called Decentraland. This is my avatar. I can go first person, or you can see the guy and you can walk around and you can do stuff. There's nobody here. Oh, there's a girl here. The girl, oh no, it's a guy. Sorry. And you can interact with the person, view their profile. Why is it not showing the profile? Yeah, okay, whatever. Not showing the profile. And you can change to another level. I like my guy. You can dive and go, oops, and go to, come on, another level, and you can talk to the guy wearing an octopus hat. Of course, this is all fun, but the world of the Decentraland is this. It's huge. Okay? This is the metaverse, and these empty spaces are what companies are paying millions of dollars to have their names associated with. Okay, so you can have several. I don't find any company here, but you have MasterCard. You have lots of companies using this space because they think it will be the next thing, right? Let's see. For who used Second Life, it's very similar to Second Life. And you can come here and you have a catalog of things you can do. Oops. You can navigate and see what's going on. You can play ice poker. And then you can jump in and everything is paid. You need to spend some money to do stuff. This is pretty much the metaverse. Let's see what's going to happen eventually with this new technology. Yeah, it takes a while to load. Okay, guys, any question? Yes, Larry.
I don't see the attraction to this.
Well, me either.
I mean, you can even buy property on the metaverse and everything else. It's like,
yeah.
Sorry,
you can buy property. You can buy because you can buy clothes for your avatar.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, if they want to attract the disadvantaged people, they don't have the money to buy anything. So
yeah, so I can buy some.
And why would rich people go on here? It's like,
yeah. Oh, the order is too loud.
This is dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. That's why Second Life died. I don't like these shoes.
Yeah.
Sweet. So you can have accessories. Some things are paid, some things are free. Right? Yeah, but who knows? What's trending? I think it's pretty much like NFTs. Who knows?
Something I have been hearing,
I think it's
something
worse.
I have been hearing about for a while is sort of glasses that sort of display things overlaid on real life.
Yeah, AR, augmented reality.
Right,
Yeah.
which sounds like in some circumstances that might actually have some uses.
Yeah, and even maybe with the glasses, the experience is different. I don't have the glasses. I know that people that play video games with the glasses, they say it's very nice. It's a great experience. And here, probably interacting using the glasses would be a much better experience than just walking around and, oops.
Well, I can understand using Google Glass if you're a maintenance person and
Oh, yeah.
rather than looking at the manual, you
Yeah.
just look at the machine that you got to fix.
Yeah.
And you type in the problem that you got, and it just automatically points to this part.
Yeah. Point to the screw that you have to unscrew. It
Yes,
points to
yes.
yeah. That I think Ford was using something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, see, this is Atari's party. Sometimes they have scheduled parties. Of course, there's no one here because there's no party.
The only, the only problem with this kind of technology is just, it means that your knowledge isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, for the AR.
You could work for the company for 10 years and they don't care because they can replace you with an idiot out of high school.
Yeah,
And
as
he
long
can
as they
do
can
just
hold
the
a
same
tool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
who
it's
knows?
true.
Somebody might find a really good way to apply it.
For sure, humans are very creative.
When the laser was invented or developed, the guys that did it thought of it as a toy, and they said there will never be an application for this. It's just a toy.
Yeah.
Look at the laser now.
Were they old?
Yeah.
Like the guy mentioned, we had meetings on Zoom because of COVID and everything, and people got used to having virtual coffees and everything. So who knows?
Yeah.
And even here on Zoom, you can make fun. Yeah, I could have an avatar instead of me doing the presentation. So yeah, it's up to people to have fun.
I heard that the laser was called a solution looking for a problem.
Yes.
Yes. But, yeah, I
You
agree.
you have to realize that a lot of scientific breakthroughs are just the same.
Yeah, this thing is more of a sociological or anthropological experience, right? So I don't know what's gonna go. And it seems that people are just looking for ways to make money. So that's why NFTs probably are.
Well, this
Totally,
might be the future where we can upload our brain to the World Wide Web.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I
and
think
live
a lot.
forever.
Yeah, but the thing is, who will be there? It won't be you, right?
No.
It will be a different individual. So yeah, I don't know. I think a lot about it, and yeah, it will be a different conscious, right? So
I'm pretty sure Donald Trump would want to be there, but yeah.
yeah, but he's worth it. He's worthless anyway. So
Yes. Well, thank you so much, Helio. This was absolutely fantastic.
no, I thank you guys. I hope you have enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
Preparing it, and I invested much more than I expected because
That always
it was really
happens.
fun.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, speaking of the uploading our minds to robots, there's this webcomic Free Fall that's been run, and there's these artificially intelligent robots that, and at one point, one of them gets asked about making a backup of their mind, and they says, "Well, I won't." Well, yeah, okay. Suppose I get destroyed. Well, so what? This backup. That's not going to be me. I'll still be dead.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I remember an awful lot of sci-fi books where old people are copied to another body and they realize, oh shit, I'm gonna die.
Yeah, like there's a one from Philip Dick, I think it's Zubik, and people are attached matrix-like to a machine, and their brains are working in some other dimensions, but their bodies are still rotting. So they have to find a way to keep the bodies going, because if the bodies die, the conscience is gonna go, right?
Does anybody remember Max Headroom?
Oh yeah.
Oh yes, yes.
I love. He didn't die. They thought he was going to die, but then he didn't.
Yep.
That was fabulous.
And
It's true.
he's been on a couple of sci-fi shows. Good night, Jim.
Oh, I was
Night.
I was waiting.
Okay, we were waiting to Bonnie.
Oh, okay. Good night, Bonnie.
Oh,
No,
Good to see you,
no, I don't
Bonnie.
expect. I don't expect to hang.
Thanks. Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
yeah. And no, actually, I have to go. My dog is here for half an hour. He's waiting for
Oh
his
my
dinner.
goodness. Yes.
wants to walk.
Take care. Thanks, Helio.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. It was great.
Thanks a lot. Good night.
Bye.
Okay, so you're.
Well, that was entertaining.
You're signing us off now, I guess. I've got a few things I want to do before hitting the sack.